Break the wheel. Make it stop.
Hello again, gentle viewers, and welcome back to another episode of The Broken Wheel. In this video, I'll be going over Season 1, Episode 5, titled Blood Calls for Blood. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, consider doing so to help it grow. But with that said, let our journey begin again. We start the episode hearing Alana singing as the people who died in the previous episode's battle are being laid to rest. The pitch of the singing is actually the highest possible that a human can make and can also only be done by women. Care is given not only to comrades but to the enemy fallen as well. Stefan personally places Kirini in the ground and takes her great serpent ring so he can return it to Tar Valon. So then time jumps about 1 month and the party is now within sight of the White Tower. Kirini's horse has her boots in the stirrups backwards, an old military tradition that a warrior has fallen in battle. Kirini was the leader of the Green Aja and held the title of Captain General of the Battle Aja, which the Green Aja is sometimes called. Loghain is once more restrained, but is far less dangerous than he once was. Mat and Rand are also now close to Tar Valon. Rand sees the mountain volcano of Dragon Mount, where the previous dragon died, and can't help finding it familiar. We get to see this beautiful shot of the island city of Tar Valon splitting the river Erin. When Mat and Rand enter the city, Rand uses the expletive, "Blood and ashes." Though this is a common phrase, it is considered very vulgar and would earn a child a mouthful of soap. As the two enter an inn that was recommended by Tom, we hear a familiar whistling from this person watching them. The caravan of tinkers that Perrin and Egwene are traveling with is stopped abruptly by a band of the Children of the Light, led by Lord Captain Valda. He spots Perrin and Egwene, and they run away with Aram. The rest of the tinkers lock arms and block the White Cloak's way, knowing that it is considered unseemly to kill one of the Tuatha'an. However, that doesn't stop them from beating anyone in their way. However, a group of the children on horseback surrounds Perrin and Egwene and take them prisoner. Aram is knocked out, but presumably only knocked out. He has a future role to play in the book, so I think we'll see him again. While Rand is looking at books in the inn's library, he is surprised to meet a fan-favorite character, Loial. Loial is an ogier, and the makeup and costuming that was done for this character is fantastic, as well as Ahmad Animashan's, I hope I said that right, performance of this beloved character. I do wish Loial's tufted ears had been added. After getting over his shock, Rand mentions looking at the book The Travels of Jane Farstrider, a favorite of Egwene's. A commotion draws Mat and Rand outside, and they see Loghain being paraded through the streets. Once more in his cage, though this is merely for show at this point. There are a few of these young girls dressed all in white, and I believe these are supposed to be novices, which are girls in their initial training to be Aes Sedai. Also, if you look in the background, you see our old friend Padden Fane watching as well. Loghain looks up at the two boys and begins to laugh at them madly, implying that he knows one of them is actually the Dragon Reborn. Mat is disturbed by this and asks Rand and him to make a deal. If one of them can actually channel, the other will put him out of his misery. Rand reluctantly agrees. Stefan performs his last duty as Kirini's warder by ritually destroying her great serpent ring. He puts it in what I am guessing is this ring of molten gold. This is a great piece of writing by the show's writers, for this isn't in the books. But I do love the symbolism of this, as I'm guessing this is where the gold for great serpent rings is drawn from. So Kirini's ring is returning from where it was made to be used to make rings for future Aes Sedai. Again, we're seeing this cycle of death and rebirth. Egwene has been taken to the Children of the Light's camp and is put through this treatment of humiliation by her captors. These strangers strip her naked and scrub her down like she's dirty and needs to be cleansed. They also brush the braid out of her hair, her symbol of being a woman in the Two Rivers. Valda specifically orders Egwene's hands bound to the chair. We learn that while it isn't necessary for one to use their hands to channel, the Aes Sedai of this age use hand and arm gestures as a type of crutch when they channel, explaining how he was able to capture an Aes Sedai alive and why he cut her hands off. Valda is again eating while he tortures his victims. He starts cutting up Perrin's back to provoke Egwene into channeling, even as she tries to convince Valda she can't. I'm not sure why he's pouring wine on the knife. I can only guess so that the wounds don't get infected, or to add more pain, or some combination of both. Back of the White Tower, Stefan asks Nyneave for some herbs to help him sleep. He has obviously been drinking, and Nyneave tries to comfort him, however.
That's the only thing I have left of her. The pain. I'm not ready to let go of it yet.
Don't worry. I promise you the pain will never go away.
Thank you.
Nyneave is told of a back way out of the tower by Liandrin and finds the inn where Mat and Rand are staying thanks to Loyal. She tries to examine Mat, seeing the condition he's in, but he snaps at her to get away. Rand is naturally worried that Egwene and Perrin have not yet arrived, especially Egwene. Nyneave assures Rand that Egwene is strong by telling him about how Egwene survived a deadly illness when she was little. Now this story has more significance than is explained here, probably due to time. Originally, Nyneave tells this story to Moiraine when they first meet after escaping Shadar Logoth. Moiraine not only knows that Nyneave can channel, but correctly guesses that Nyneave healed one of the others with the One Power. Nyneave confesses that she somehow cured Egwene's illness and that it was the first time she consciously channeled. This was how Nyneave was able to track them down, for Moiraine explains that Aes Sedai will know how to find someone they have healed with the One Power if they concentrate. Valda has left Perrin and Egwene alone for a time to decide which one of them will die so the other can go free. Perrin tries to convince Egwene that he should be the one to die, for he deserves it for killing his wife. When Valda returns, he continues to torture Perrin, and we see Perrin's eyes turn golden with the inflicted pain. Egwene manages to channel a small amount of fire at Valda, who is pleased that he has finally broken her. What he doesn't realize is that it was a distraction so that Egwene can burn through Perrin's bonds. When Perrin gets free, he comes at Valda, who is shocked with fear to see the color of Perrin's eyes. Ironically, it's Egwene that attacks Valda and snatches his trophy collection of great serpent rings. When they get outside, they see the camp is being attacked by dozens of wolves. Perrin assures Egwene that the wolves won't hurt them, and to her surprise, they don't. Stefan is burning sage around these effigies that represent the Forsaken. He's performing a ritual similar to faiths that make offerings to deities, ancestors, or spirits to gain their favor. This ritual is reverse of that, for it seems to be warding off the Forsaken to free oneself from their influence. In this case, Stefan is trying to ward away Ishamael, the father of lies, so that he can see the truth with a clear head. Though Ishamael actually means betrayer of hope in the old tongue. Father of lies refers to the Dark One itself. Normally, if a warder's Aes Sedai dies, and the warder doesn't immediately die with her, they will go into the Great Blight to seek death battling the Dark One's minion. Lan is trying to convince Stefan to live and be bonded to another Aes Sedai. Lan is resolved to stay with Stefan until this can be done, ensuring that he doesn't harm himself. During the night, Stefan tells Lan that Nyneave is in love with him and suggests Lan try to open himself up to her. In the morning, Lan awakens and realizes that the tea Stefan gave him was spiked with the sleeping herbs that Nyneave gave him. Lan rushes out and finds Stefan has killed himself in front of the statues of the first warders outside the hall of the tower, in the heart of the White Tower. The episode ends as it began, with a funeral. We can hear this deep sound being sung, which is the deepest sound a human can make. Lan has been appointed the head mourner in Stefan's service. This would usually mean that he is in charge of all the arrangements, but in this case, he's the only one allowed to show emotion. In doing so, he is relieving everyone else of their pain by taking the entire burden onto himself. And it is a heartbreaking scene to watch as this man who is usually stoic and unspoken to be broken down in grief and screaming in pain. I can only imagine what it must be like for Moiraine, for not only can she feel what Lan is feeling, but she has to see someone she cares deeply for suffering. These are two great performances in this scene by Daniel Henney and Rosamund Pike. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on Episode 5, Season 1 of The Wheel of Time. As always, if you enjoyed this content, consider leaving a like or a comment below. But until next time, may the light protect you.